It starts with a simple truth most people spend their entire lives running from. Your brain was not built to make you exceptional. It was built to keep you alive and comfortable. That means your brain resists anything difficult. It avoids anything uncertain. It rejects anything that requires effort, risk, or vulnerability. And that's why your life feels stuck. Not because you're weak, not because you're unmotivated, not because you don't have discipline. No, you've simply been trying to build a strong life with a mind designed for safety. But safety isn't what you want. You want strength. You want resilience. You want self-control. You want the ability to look a hard task in the eye and move toward it instead of away from it. You want a brain that obeys you, not one that negotiates with your potential every day. And that's exactly what this audiobook is about. Welcome to Train Your Brain to Do Hard Things, a full cinematic psychological journey into mental toughness, into rewiring the pathways that hold you back, into teaching your mind to stop resisting the path of growth and start craving it. Within the first few minutes, I want you to understand something absolutely crucial. You are not meant to wait for discipline. You are meant to build it. And to build it, you must first understand how your brain reacts to difficulty. Because once you understand the design, you learn how to override it. In this audiobook, you will learn why the brain resists anything hard, how to use discomfort as a training ground, how to rewire your mind through repeated friction, how to build a nervous system that stays calm under pressure, how to shift from comfort seeker to challenge seeker, why resilience is a skill, not a personality trait, how to train mental toughness the same way athletes train muscle, and how to build a mind that craves hard things, not fears them. This journey is divided into 10 cinematic chapters, each one designed to deepen your mental strength. Chapter 1. Your brain fears difficulty. Chapter 2. Discomfort is your training ground. Chapter 3. The neuroscience of toughness. Chapter 4. Repetition rewires resistance. Chapter 5. Nervous system training. Chapter 6. Becoming the person who does hard things. Chapter 7. Challenge-seeking identity. Chapter 8. Building a stronger internal voice. Chapter 9. Difficult things. First, a new daily ritual. Chapter 10. The mind you're becoming. But before we walk into Chapter 1, you need to hear the punchline that defines this entire audiobook. The hard things aren't your obstacle, your brain's reaction to them is. If this line hits you, if you feel that spark of recognition, hit like so your future self remembers this moment. And share in the comments the hardest thing you're trying to train your mind to face. Now, let's start the journey. Before we continue, I want to say, my dear friend, if you are watching this video, then you are definitely on the right track. Like, subscribe, and write in the comments which topic or problem interests you the most. Chapter 1. Your brain fears difficulty. Your brain has one mission: keep you alive with the least amount of effort. That's why it pushes you toward comfort. Comfort is predictable. Comfort is familiar. Comfort is safe. Comfort requires no risk. Comfort demands no energy. To your brain, hardship is danger. Effort is danger. Uncertainty is danger. Challenge is danger. So every time you attempt something difficult, a workout, a habit, a conversation, a commitment, a discipline, your brain fires alarms. Let's do it later. Let's avoid this. Let's distract ourselves. Let's choose something easier. Let's save energy. Your brain isn't trying to sabotage your success. It's trying to protect you from the unfamiliar. But here is the painful truth. The brain's safety mechanism becomes your cage. The more you obey it, the weaker your resilience becomes. And here's the most dangerous part. The brain adapts to whatever you repeat. Avoid difficulty long enough, and your brain becomes addicted to comfort. Crave comfort long enough, and your threshold for discomfort shrinks. Soon, the smallest task feels overwhelming. The smallest challenge feels impossible. The smallest demand triggers stress. But the opposite is also true. And this is where your transformation begins. When you repeatedly move toward difficult things, your brain rewires itself to handle them. It stops panicking. It stops resisting. It stops negotiating. It adapts. It strengthens. It evolves. That is the central message of this entire audiobook. You can train your brain to love the hard things it once feared, but that training requires friction, and friction is uncomfortable. Which brings us directly into Chapter 2, the chapter where discomfort stops being the enemy and becomes your gym. Chapter 2. Discomfort is your training ground. If your brain fears difficulty, then discomfort is not your enemy. It is your dojo, your arena, your personal gym for mental strength. Every moment of discomfort is an opportunity to strengthen your mind, to stretch your limits, to break old patterns, to challenge your instincts, to teach your brain a different response. Most people run from discomfort their whole lives. They flinch when something feels hard. They retreat when something feels unfamiliar. They escape when things get tense, demanding, or exhausting. But the truth is brutally simple. Running from discomfort keeps you weak. Leaning into discomfort makes you unstoppable. If you want a strong mind, you must embrace the discomfort most people avoid. The cold shower no one wants to take. The workout your body resists. The conversation your pride avoids. The project you keep postponing. The habit your brain tries to negotiate away. The discipline your mood doesn't agree with. Every one of these moments is a chance to train your brain. A chance to override the old wiring and install a new response. When it gets hard, I move forward. You will not build grit by thinking about being tough. You build grit by putting your mind under stress and letting it adapt. Just like a muscle tears and rebuilds stronger, your brain strengthens by facing controlled difficulty. You train your mind through intentional friction. This is why you must stop seeing discomfort as a warning and start seeing it as a signal. This is the moment I get stronger. But here's where people get stuck. They assume mental toughness requires massive, dramatic hardships. No. The strongest minds are built through simple, consistent, daily discomforts. Waking up early when you'd rather sleep. Finishing a task when boredom hits. Saying no when your impulses want yes. Choosing discipline over distraction and calm over chaos. These small moments are magic. Each one sends a new message to your brain. You don't control me, I control you. Do this daily. And there comes a point where the brain stops resisting, because you've trained it to obey. But to understand why this works, to understand how discomfort literally reshapes your brain, we need to go deeper, into the neuroscience behind grit, into the biology behind discipline, into the wiring behind willpower. Welcome to Chapter 3. Friend, write your opinion on this topic in the comments. Do you agree with us or not? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Chapter 3. The Neuroscience of Toughness. Mental toughness isn't mysterious. It isn't motivational. It isn't inherited. Mental toughness is biological. It's neurological. It's chemical. Your brain is a dynamic system. Every thought, every reaction, every emotional pattern creates neural circuits. Circuits that repeat become habits. Habits that repeat become identity. Identity that repeats becomes instinct. This means your reactions to difficulty are learned, not fixed. If you panic at discomfort, if you shut down under pressure, if you freeze when something feels hard, your brain has simply been conditioned to react that way. But here's the powerful part. Anything that was learned can be unlearned, and anything unlearned can be replaced. The science is simple. When you choose to face something hard, your brain triggers a surge of norepinephrine, the neurochemical of alertness and focus. This chemical is uncomfortable, which is why most people pull back. But if you stay with it, if you breathe, if you push, if you stay present, your brain adapts. It learns that this state is survivable. It learns that difficulty is not danger. It rewires. This is called stress adaptation. The more you voluntarily expose your brain to small controlled stressors, the more your tolerance expands. This is why cold exposure sharpens discipline, exercise boosts resilience, deep work fortifies focus, and consistent small challenges create unshakable mental strength. It's not magic. It's neurochemistry. Your brain is constantly updating its definition of what I can handle. So the question becomes, what are you training it to handle? Comfort, avoidance, distraction, or pressure, difficulty, and discomfort. Here's the secret scientists and peak performers understand. The brain craves efficiency. If you repeatedly choose hard things, your brain will make hard things feel normal. This is why elite soldiers, world-class athletes, and high performers seem calm in chaos. Their brains have rehearsed the stress. They are not superhuman. They are adapted. And you can adapt too. But adaptation requires repetition, consistent exposure to difficulty until your nervous system stops sounding the alarm. Which brings us to a critical shift. Repetition isn't just habit building. It's rewiring. And that's the foundation of Chapter 4, the chapter where the old version of you begins to dissolve, and a stronger brain takes shape through repeated friction. Let's turn the page. Chapter 4. Repetition rewires resistance. If you want to change your life, you must first change your brain. And if you want to change your brain, you must harness the most powerful tool you already possess. Repetition. Repetition is not glamorous. Repetition is not exciting. Repetition is not loud or dramatic. Repetition is slow. Repetition is boring. Repetition is uncomfortable. And that is why repetition is transformative. Because every time you repeat an action, you reinforce a neural pathway. And every time you reinforce a neural pathway, you weaken the old one. This is how you kill the part of you that avoids difficulty and build the part of you that craves it. Let's make this simple. Do a hard thing once, and it feels impossible. Do it 5 times, and it feels uncomfortable. Do it 20 times, and it feels manageable. Do it 50 times, and it feels normal. Do it 100 times, and it becomes your identity. Repetition is the great equalizer. It turns fear into familiarity, discomfort into routine, resistance into instinct. And this is where most people fail. They want breakthroughs without repetition. They want strength without consistency. They want discipline without daily friction. They want a strong mind while living a life built around avoiding struggle. But you are not most people. You're here because you want the truth. And the truth is this. Your brain becomes what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally feel, not what you sometimes attempt, but what you commit to again and again and again. Think about a habit you once hated. Waking up early, working out, cold showers, studying, practicing a skill, facing uncomfortable tasks. Eventually, through repetition, your brain stopped resisting it. It became part of your rhythm, part of your routine, part of your identity. That is the power of repetition. But here's the deeper layer. Repetition doesn't just change behavior. It changes your nervous system. When you consistently face something hard, your brain's panic response weakens. Your emotional reactivity shrinks. Your ability to stay calm under pressure expands. This is why people who repeatedly expose themselves to difficulty develop a level of mental resilience that others can't understand. It's not magic. It's not genetics. It's not motivation. It's neural adaptation. You get good at difficult things by doing difficult things often. But to take this to another level, to build not just resilience, but a calm, powerful mind, you must understand the system your brain uses to regulate stress, your nervous system. If your nervous system is weak, your discipline will collapse under pressure. If your nervous system is strong, your discipline becomes your default. So now we step into the deeper work, the internal rewiring that allows you to stay steady, sharp, and confident in situations where your old self would break. Welcome to Chapter 5. Chapter 5. Nervous System Training. This chapter is the turning point. Because most people think mental toughness is about pushing through stress, They think it's about grinding harder, forcing more, ignoring discomfort. But true toughness, lasting, powerful, unshakable toughness, comes from something completely different. A regulated nervous system. Your nervous system is your internal command center. It controls your stress response, your emotional stability, your focus, your reactions. It determines whether you stay calm or panic, whether you stay present or retreat, whether you lean into pressure or collapse under it. And here's what you must understand. The nervous system can be trained, just like a muscle. When you avoid hard things, your nervous system becomes hypersensitive. It overreacts. It triggers anxiety. It floods you with cortisol. It pushes you into fight, flight, or freeze over the smallest challenge. But when you intentionally expose your nervous system to controlled discomfort, something incredible happens. Your stress tolerance increases. Your emotional stability deepens. Your mind becomes quieter under pressure. Your body stops panicking at effort. Your reactions become sharper, steadier, calmer. This is why people who regularly embrace discomfort, cold exposure, intense workouts, deep work sessions, difficult conversations, discipline rituals, breathing under pressure, develop a presence others notice instantly. Their nervous system is trained. Their mind stays centered. Their reactions are intentional, not emotional. They do not get overwhelmed easily. They do not break easily. They do not quit easily. This is the foundation of mental toughness. But how do you train your nervous system? Through controlled stress, through short bursts of discomfort followed by calm, through intentional exposure followed by recovery. Here are the core tools. 1. Breath control. When you breathe slow under pressure, you teach your brain the situation is safe. Your nervous system adapts. You become steady. 2. Cold exposure. Cold triggers the stress response. Staying calm in it rewires your tolerance for discomfort. 3. Intense physical work. Physical strain strengthens psychological resilience. Your body learns that effort is survivable. 4. Deep focus work. Sustaining focus without distraction trains your mind to resist impulses. 5. Emotional courage. Facing uncomfortable conversations strengthens social resilience. 6. Deliberate daily discomfort. Small challenges compound into massive nervous system adaptation. You must understand this. Mental toughness isn't just about pushing through difficulty. It's about teaching your brain and body how to recognize difficulty and stay calm within it. This chapter is the blueprint for a new you, a you who can endure more stress, handle more pressure, and pursue bigger challenges without collapsing into anxiety or overwhelm. But now that you've learned how to train your nervous system, we step into the next evolution, becoming the kind of person who seeks out hard things instead of avoiding them. This is where the old identity dies and a new one is born. Chapter 6. Becoming the person who does hard things. There comes a moment in your transformation when the goal is no longer to push yourself through hard things. The goal becomes to identify as the person who does them. This is the pivot. This is the shift. This is the identity upgrade that your future relies on. Because discipline isn't just about your actions. Discipline is about your self-concept. Your behaviors follow your beliefs. Your choices follow your identity. Your repeated actions follow the story you tell yourself about who you are. If you see yourself as someone who avoids discomfort, you will avoid it. If you see yourself as someone who breaks under pressure, you will break. If you see yourself as someone who can't stay consistent, you won't. But if you see yourself as someone who embraces challenge, someone who finishes what they start, someone with quiet, internal strength, someone who acts despite fear, someone who leans into difficulty, then your brain begins rewriting your reactions automatically. You're no longer forcing discipline, you're living it. This chapter is about building the identity that reshapes your destiny. Let's break down what identity truly is. Identity is not what you say about yourself. It's not what you hope about yourself. It's not what you post about yourself. Identity is what you prove to yourself daily. Every difficult thing you do is a vote for the person you're becoming. Waking up early, a vote. Finishing your task, a vote. Taking the cold shower, a vote. Doing the workout, a vote. Facing the uncomfortable conversation, a vote. Choosing discipline over impulse, a vote. Most people don't lack potential. They lack identity alignment. They say they want to be strong, but they act like someone fragile. They say they want resilience, but they live inside comfort. They say they want growth, but they avoid the exact things that create growth. Here's your turning point. When your identity aligns with your actions, discipline stops being effort and becomes expression. You're no longer fighting yourself. You're following your nature, your new nature, the one you trained for. But identity must be fed. It must be reinforced. It must be lived into. So here's what you must ask yourself. What would the strongest version of me do today? And how do I match it? You don't wait for motivation. You don't wait for mood. You don't wait for ease. You act from identity. And soon, doing hard things doesn't feel impossible. It doesn't even feel heroic. It feels normal. Because you've become the person who does them. But there's a deeper layer, a level of mastery almost nobody reaches. Becoming someone who doesn't just do hard things, but seeks them out. Not from ego, not to prove anything, not to show off, but because you understand something powerful. Your strength grows only in the presence of difficulty. Welcome to Chapter 7. Dear viewer, please write in the comments what interested you most in the video. This will help us improve our videos. Chapter 7. The Challenge-Seeking Identity. Most people live their entire lives trying to make things easier. Easier jobs, easier habits, easier days, easier routines. But easy is the slow poison. Easy is the path to stagnation. Easy is the comfort that kills growth. Every person you admire, every leader, athlete, creator, visionary, innovator, builder, has one defining trait. They seek out hard things, not because they enjoy suffering, not because they're fearless, not because they're naturally disciplined. They seek challenge because they understand something simple and life-changing. Hard things are where the growth lives. Hard things are where the confidence grows. Hard things are where identity is built. This chapter is the evolution of your mind, the shift from avoiding challenge to craving the feeling of overcoming it. Let's explore the psychology behind challenge seeking. 1. Challenge creates clarity. When you take on something hard, your mind sharpens. Your purpose becomes clearer. Your focus intensifies. Difficulty forces presence. Challenge eliminates noise. 2. Challenge builds self-respect. Nothing boosts self-esteem like doing what you once avoided. Self-trust grows every time you conquer something that scared you. 3. Challenge creates momentum. Hard things generate energy once initiated. The friction becomes fuel. Momentum multiplies. 4. Challenge rewires your reward system. Your brain begins releasing dopamine for effort, not for avoidance. This is how you begin craving hard things instead of fearing them. 5. Challenge raises your baseline. What once overwhelmed you becomes normal. Your tolerance for discomfort expands. Your strength increases unconsciously. You become someone others describe as mentally strong, unshakable, disciplined, focused, on a different level. But it's not magic. It's training, daily training. And here is where your transformation takes a profound turn. When you repeatedly choose challenge, your identity stops being tied to convenience and becomes tied to resilience. You stop waiting for life to be easy. You start building a mind strong enough to handle whatever comes. This challenge-seeking identity has defining habits. They choose the harder path because it leads to deeper mastery. They embrace friction because friction reveals their power. They move toward discomfort because discomfort is where expansion happens. They do what others avoid, not to impress anyone, but because this is who they are now. And there is one more step. The step that separates tough minds from unshakable ones. The voice inside your head. To continue this transformation, you must learn to build a voice that leads you, not a voice that limits you. A voice that strengthens you, not a voice that saves you from effort. A voice that tells the truth, not the voice that keeps you small. This is where we go next. Chapter 8 is the chapter that shapes every chapter after it. Because the strongest mind is not built in your muscles, or your habits, or your routines. It's built in your internal narrative. Chapter 8. Building a stronger internal voice. Your internal voice is the steering wheel of your entire life. It determines where you go, how you move, how you react, and who you ultimately become. And here's the truth almost no one wants to confront. Your life will always match the quality of the voice inside your head. If that voice is weak, you become weak. If that voice is panicked, you become reactive. If that voice is doubtful, you hesitate. If that voice is soft, you crumble at the first hint of pressure. But if that voice is strong, if that voice is disciplined, if that voice is grounded, if that voice gives commands instead of excuses, you become a different creature entirely. You become the kind of person who moves through difficulty with a calm, internal authority that others can feel when you walk into a room. This internal strength isn't fake confidence. It isn't external bravado. It isn't loud or performative. It's quiet, controlled, focused, stable. But here's the twist. You were not born with your internal voice. You built it. Every thought you repeated, every fear you fed, every excuse you obeyed, every challenge you avoided, every time you backed down, you shaped your internal voice. But that also means this. You can rebuild it. You can rewrite it. You can rewire it. You can make it unbreakable. Let's break down the 4 layers of building a strong internal voice. Layer 1. Truth over emotion. Most people speak to themselves emotionally. I don't feel like it. It's too much. I can't handle this. A strong internal voice is grounded in truth, not emotion. Emotion is fleeting. Truth is firm. Truth sounds like, I can handle more than I think. This is difficult, not impossible. My discomfort is training me. One step is all I need to take. This shift alone changes everything. Layer 2. Commands over negotiation. Weak internal voices negotiate. Maybe later. Let's skip today. You deserve a break. You can make up for it tomorrow. A powerful internal voice issues commands. Get up. Do the work. Finish this. Stay focused. Move now. Commands create clarity. Clarity eliminates hesitation. Layer 3. Identity over impulse. When your impulses lead, your discipline dies. When your identity leads, your discipline thrives. Weak internal voices say, I don't want to. I'm tired. I'm stressed. I'll wait. Strong internal voices say, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is my standard. This is the path I chose. Identity overrides impulse. Layer 4. Evidence over hope. You strengthen your internal voice by collecting evidence. Evidence of follow-through, evidence of discipline, evidence of effort, evidence of resilience. Every hard thing you do becomes proof that you are capable. And with enough proof, your internal voice stops doubting and starts defending your greatness. But the greatest transformation comes from this. Your internal voice must become your coach, not your enemy. Instead of beating yourself down, it must build you up. Instead of feeding fear, it must feed courage. Instead of amplifying weakness, it must amplify strength. And this brings us to the next chapter, the one where your daily life shifts from convenience to intentional difficulty. The chapter where you begin designing your day around doing the things that make you mentally strong. Welcome to Chapter 9, the chapter of action. Chapter 9, difficult things. First, a new daily ritual. If you want a strong mind, you must build a strong day. Not a comfortable day, not an easy day, not a day built around moods, distractions, or convenience. A day built around intentional difficulty. Because the way you structure your day determines the strength of your mind. And there is one ritual, one habit, one rule used by elite performers, warriors, and disciplined achievers worldwide. Do the hard thing first. You do the uncomfortable thing before your brain has time to negotiate. You do the challenging task before fear wakes up. You do the thing you're avoiding before it grows heavier in your mind. This ritual changes lives. Why? Because when you begin your day with difficulty, everything else feels lighter. Your brain stops fearing effort. Your emotions stop ruling your behavior. Your confidence rises because you've already proven your strength before noon. Let's break down the power behind this ritual. 1. You train your brain to lead, not follow. Most people wait for the right mood before they act, but when you do the hard thing first, you show your brain that action creates the mood. This is the beginning of psychological dominance. 2. You build momentum. Early. Imagine the ripple effect of starting your day by conquering something uncomfortable. Momentum becomes your ally. You feel competent. You feel focused. You feel capable. Strong days begin with strong openings. 3. You reduce anxiety. Avoided tasks become psychological weight. They grow heavier the longer you delay them. Doing them first removes the weight before it has time to settle. 4. You strengthen your identity. Each morning, you cast a vote. Am I the person who avoids difficulty, or the person who dominates it? Start enough days with strength, and strength becomes your nature. 5. You retrain your dopamine system. Modern distractions teach your brain to crave ease, novelty, and escape. Hard things teach your brain to crave effort, mastery, and resilience. Doing hard things first rewires your reward system. This is how you become someone who craves the feeling of conquering discomfort. Let's make this actionable. If the gym is hard for you, go in the morning. If the project is overwhelming, start before checking your phone. If the conversation scares you, send the message before noon. If the habit feels uncomfortable, do it before anything enjoyable. You do the hard thing first because the hard thing is what shapes you. But there is still one more level, one more transformation, one more elevation of the mind. You've learned how to lean into discomfort, retrain your brain, regulate your nervous system, and build a challenge-seeking identity. Now you must integrate all of it into a single, cohesive, unstoppable version of yourself. And now comes your final step. Sharing this transformation with your future self. Cinematic closing. If this audiobook moved you, if it opened something inside you, if it gave you clarity, strength, or momentum, hit like as a signal to your future self that you are committed to training your mind. Share in the comments the hard thing you're choosing to face next. Write it down so your brain knows you're serious. Subscribe if you want to continue building a mind that doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, and doesn't fear difficulty. A mind built for resilience, focus, and discipline. And share this audiobook with someone you care about. Someone who needs to remember that their strength isn't gone. It's just untrained. Now take one more breath. Feel the strength rising inside you. And carry this final line into every difficult moment from this day forward. Your brain won't choose the hard path for you, but it will adapt to the one you walk. Choose the hard path. Train your mind. Transform your life. What topic do you want the next audiobook to explore?